blocks being mutually exclusive to each other. I'm not sure of the I'm not sure about the answer for that. Usually they're usually pretty obvious in terms of the shape of the block. So if you can't fit a block inside of another one, then that usually is supposed to be an indicator that if they're mutually exclusive. But let me.
So, for example, with the touching sprite block, whatever object it is that you're having touch each other in order to create another action, sometimes with blocks, there has to be a finishing move, and then if that sprite is touching something else, then it'll go ahead and trigger the next motion. So if there's an issue with those two things coming together, I would experiment around with that. For example, if you have a block that's moving continuously and you have to go ahead and have something happen when it touches another sprite, that might not happen initially if the action in the form of that looping hasn't stopped yet. But again, take this with a grain of salt because I can't speak exactly to the situation without seeing the project. But if those are the issues that you're having, test it out and see if there's a difference when the sprite completes a movement or completes an action versus if the sprite is continuously going through a movement and you're waiting for some other conditional statement to take place.
Okay, so I think what she's asking is if you're using like a touching, using some of the sensing blocks in Scratch, that even though they seem like they fit into certain areas, like for instance in the glide block, they don't actually do anything. So for this, it's not really doing anything. It's just gliding to, not to touching edge, it's gliding to X position 10. So one thing I would point out is that you should try to keep in mind the shape of the opening. So if you notice, if touching, it has this sort of like diamond shape, and that's supposed to help sort of indicate where it might fit into. So if you look under control, there's some of these diamond-shaped holes here to indicate that that would be an ideal place to put that block. And if it seemed like you were trying to do something with glide and sensing, if you look under sensing, there are other blocks that are circular in shape. So for instance, mouse X and mouse Y, if I put those into these places here, maybe I'll change this to 2 seconds. Now when I click the green flag, actually the cat sprite is going to glide for 2 seconds to wherever my mouse is. But if you wanted it to perhaps do touching mouse or touching edge, then I would recommend using the if touching block here with the if loop, the if then block here, and it shows that this diamond block will fit very nicely into this diamond shaped hole here. So